Okay. Are there any questions about this?
What does your thing say assigned to L01? Assigned what? Are you just saying label it or loop back?
So clearly label and identify the ports on the routers. So that you also want to label loopback 1.
Oh.
Identify it, yeah, label it. Okay. I'm going to hand out the paper. So I think, let's see how far you can get in 15 minutes. Okay? So you'll work on this, and then once everyone's done, we'll team up, okay? So work on this. No questions on this, right? Okay. Thanks, just set it down. If you're not sure, again, pull up a lab. We've done several labs that are similar to what we're doing. You could take a look at a lab. can you pop your hand up if you're done? Okay.
Out of curiosity, for the purpose of VLSN, do we know how many houses we're gonna need?
Do you? Have we talked about it? Is that a no? Okay, everyone done or close to done? Joey, Marcus, done? Okay. All right, so I'm going to put you in groups, okay, in teams of 2. And again, so the goal here is like just check each other's work, like make sure that every item that's supposed to be on there is on there, make sure that the labels are correct, make sure you can read it, right? Make sure you can read it. If you can't, don't be afraid to tell your coworker, let's rewrite this so that it can be read. So I want you to put your name in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, your name goes in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, and then after you're done working with your partner will sign it in the lower right-hand corner, okay? At the end of doing it, you're going to sign it. Everybody clear on that? Okay. Okay, so Orgil and Lou, Daniel and Joey, Caesar and Oswaldo, Guillermo and Marcus, Matt and Gabby. Okay, so go ahead and move together, take your papers, check each other's work, go over everything, make sure nothing is missing. And when you give it the stamp of approval, raise your hand so I can come look at it, okay? Are you both done? Is this yours? Okay. So this right here, is this the name of the network or the name of the switch? Because I see the S customer service, so I think this is the name of the switch. Is that right? Okay. Can you also label your networks? Okay, so label your networks. And you're missing. Oh, maybe you're not missing it. Maybe it's just little. Yeah, you're missing another couple labels. So same thing, label your networks.
As in LAN WAN, or you just?
Well, no, like sales, customer service. Yeah, just make it more obvious that that's the actual network.
Gotcha.
And then you are missing 2 labels. So yeah, have, no, just you. Okay, so, let's see. Yeah, so, let's see, who's your partner?
Market, but I think we did well. I think I did.
So let's go back over here. And
Before anything's ever gonna die. The silicon package.
okay, so you're missing a couple of things, but so one thing that I want to make sure you do is that you label the networks. So I can see that you have your switch labeled, but label your networks,
okay.
okay?
That makes sense.
Label, yeah, we want to clearly see this is sales, this is customer service. And then also you're missing something, you're missing a loop back.
So do we just put loop back on it?
I don't know if like how I
Yeah.
Yeah, so how this is, that's good, right? So it's a virtual interface, but this lets me know that you know that there's.
Well, then I just need to label my networks.
Yep. Okay, and you've got a little bit of a problem with your PCs. Yours, I can see it. I would like it to be a little more clear, your PCs, okay? So talk that out. That looks good. So this looks good. You are missing a little bit of labeling.
Which for?
Have your coworker check it.
Well, let's see if mine's good first.
Loop back one. So you're not missing it. You have it. But what I would like, let's see, if you could just like label your networks too. So this looks good how you have your switch labeled, but then just also label the network, sales, customer service, okay? And then help him find what's missing. You have it, he's missing it.
I didn't know what shape
Sales. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the important thing there is like I can tell that you have it labeled as loopback 1, so I know that you know that it's there, so that's good.
Maybe you should.
Sales, customer service. Okay.
All one word or
I
something.
think that one looks pretty good. Let's see. Oh, I like this. Are these multiple PCs?
Yep.
Very smart. Because there really would be more networks, right? There would be more PCs on your network. So sale, PC, customers. That looks good. Customer service, sales. Yeah, that looks good. So I think go ahead and sign each other's. I'll be right back.
Really quick, I
Yes.
just wanted to double check, because one of the things that I mentioned was making sure that we had VLAN, the VLAN port set up for the switches. Did we need, like,
I actually didn't comment about that yet, but we will be doing that.
okay.
Yeah, so it's fine that you have it there, but we haven't talked about it yet.
I know the dots are a little convoluted, by the way, but like, I have what he.
So
'cause
let
he
me,
is talking.
I'm gonna come back, let me check theirs real quick so I can give them a check off. Did you find what it
I mean,
was?
the only thing I did was just change the PC,
Yeah,
PC1, PC2. Just wanted it sales.
label,
service.
right? Remember it said label everything. Okay, did I tell you yours was good?
I changed it. I made it bigger.
And you added that, okay. So let me, and you got your sign off, right? Okay. Okay, so double check. Okay, so let's see, what did you add?
I only added my cable, I didn't have my cable on there.
Oh,
But then
very good.
he added a label.
There we go.
Okay.
Yep. Remember I just said label everything, right? When in
Okay.
doubt, label it. So just when you're thinking about the labeling and setting up a network, the way that that's going to be is there'll be just boxes of equipment and you'll have like sales, 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 sales. So you just want to know where to take that, right? So it's just important to get in the habit of just labeling stuff because you might be carrying stuff around and needing to know where to put it.
A little bit over-labeled and under-labeled.
Better to overlabel than other, yep. Okay. Did I need to check something again on yours?
I mean, you checked it the first time and I fixed the thing you told me to fix.
Okay. So let me look at yours, Caesar and Ozzy. Okay, so let's see here.
Yeah, you're gonna erase the ingredient.
Yeah, so that looks good. G00, G01, switch 1, sales, F10, PC sales, sales, that looks great. Branch, G01. So what is that one?
I was saying that one was G00 on the switch, right?
Where does it supposed to be?
Backwards?
You use port G01
My thought process was.
G00 for sales.
So yeah, I forgot you can
G0
use. I forgot that you can use the same G00 as G00 over here and G01 and G01. Not that you
But
had
there's no such thing as a G00 on a switch. So I think if you read the directions on there, it'll tell you what port. So sales, this is correct, but you have a mistake over here. So where is the information about the switch ports on your directions?
Absolutely, yep.
switch ports.
Okay,
Use F10 to connect to LAN house.
and you've got that, yep, and then what?
And then use G01 to connect to the router.
So you have G01 connecting to the router, and what do you have right there?
It needs to be a G01.
There you go. Oh, you made the same mistake, yeah. There's no G00 on most switches, and not on ours. So there's that. G01. Yeah, no. Customer service, growth IT. Yeah, I think this looks good. Did you get that fixed? You did, so fix yours right there. And then did you make sure you sign each other's, okay? Ready? Okay, everybody ready? Everybody got a check from me, right? A green check? Did everybody get a green check? Okay. Okay, so what might we need to know next?
What network needs how many nodes?
Yeah, so that's what we'll look at next. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so you're not going to turn this in today because I already walked around and looked at everybody's, but we should have something kind of like this. Okay, we should have something kind of like this, right? So here's our sales network, G00 to G01. Now I noticed a couple of you did this. It wasn't just one person where we did G00 and then you put G00 on this switch. The directions said G01. Most switches don't have a G00. They have a G01 and a G02. Sometimes they might have a fiber optic connection with a 00, but even then, usually not, okay? And then see, we've got the sales labeled, we have customer service labeled, we've got our PCs labeled. And what I was explaining to the group over here is a lot of times in a production environment, you know, just boxes of stuff will get delivered, right? And so you want to be like, okay, this one's sales, 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 customer service, customer service, customer service, because you might be hauling boxes, you know, bringing them in on a truck, that type of thing. So you just want to have everything labeled to save yourself time, save yourself trying to figure anything out, right? It's just good documentation practice, okay? And then we've got our loop back. There's a couple of different ways to identify it. As long as I could tell what you know, were doing and that it was a loop back, then I'm good with that, okay? Yeah.
So when you click on those, it drops down that screen, and it would just be, is that why you have packet tracer?
No, yes. In Packet Tracer, I did it so that the ports show up. Yeah, now on the labs, what do they call that? When you look at the lab, it doesn't say interface FA0. What does it say on our labs for the PCs and the end devices? Because you'll need to know that. Nope, not on the labs. You'll see, it'll come to it. But that's just because that's what Packet Tracer does. And we're actually gonna, next week we'll build this out in Packet Tracer. Okay, okay, so when we're needing to purchase the intermediary devices like routers and switches, and you might be talking to a customer as they're thinking about buying some devices, what are some of the things that you would tell them to consider or that you need to know when you're thinking about how to buy or purchase product for the customer? Just what are some things that you might think of that they need to be aware of? Okay, yeah, like, so if we translate that into our terms, like how many networks, right? So is knowing how many networks they're going to have important when deciding whether or not how many devices you have to purchase, how many routers, how many switches? Yeah, so I think that's something important that you would have to consider. So what are some other factors when determining your intermediary devices? Okay, so port speed, right? We might want to think about speed and port speed and what the customer's needs are. So yeah, absolutely. Fast Ethernet versus gig. Do you need fiber optic speed? So I think ports and the port speed is very important, yes. Over here from this group.
Maybe like size, because you don't know where they're gonna place it as well.
Size? Yes, and so let's talk about size for a minute. Have you noticed that some of those devices are what's called one rack unit, right? And then there's others that are a little bit wider. So these are measured in what's called rack units, a 1 RU, a 2 RU. Sometimes you can buy stackable switches that all interconnect. So you might be looking at like a 6 RU package. So yeah, we might need to consider what they have an availability when it comes to installing devices. Okay.
Workload? Like how many switch are you putting on one router?
Yes, I think workload could be, you could think of workload in different ways. So yes, because each interface on a router can handle how many LANs? Think about all the labs we've done. So for what we know, you can put 2 LANs on one interface of a router. 1, right? Just 1. I mean, whenever we've done a LAN, doesn't it look like this? Right? Just 1. Now, in 150, we're going to learn how to put 50 LANs on one interface. But right now, you know, we only know how to do a LAN on each interface. So yeah, I would say workload would be important. So that kind of comes back to the number of devices and networks. But also with workload, it would be what the device can handle. Like how many CPUs like is in there? What is the speed? What is the hard drive? What is the RAM? So you got to think about what the capability of the device is. What are you going to ask it to do? Are you going to put DHCP on it? Are you going to put NAT on it? Are you going to put DNS on it? Like the more you put on it, the more robust you need to be thinking about getting with that router. Okay. Right, what else? There's still a pretty major one that's missing that I'd like to hear. Yeah, I think that's very important, right? Do you have other devices? You know, are you a Cisco only? Do we need to think about interoperability? Do you run some Junipers? Do you have any Metalux? You know, what kind of configurations are we going to have to do? Yes, that's the big one, cost, right? Doesn't your customer probably need to understand what their budget is going to be, or you need to understand what their budget is going to be? So number one is cost, I would say, is very important. So that was the one I was missing, cost. So cost, speed of our ports, right? What type of ports? Again, fiber optic, gig ports. Do we need any serial ports? Expandability, right? Are we going to grow? So we already know on our network, we're going to add a department. Right, so when we go buy a router, I don't want to buy a router that only has 2 ports and then in 6 months, oh, I forgot that the customer told me they're going to need a 3rd LAN. Oh, I'm sorry, you got to go buy another router. Right, so you want to keep that kind of stuff in mind. The operating systems, the different features and services that it has. Does it have K9 security? Does it have the ability to do a AAA server? All those kinds of different things are just important to think about if you're helping a customer, okay? And then just an example, right? Cost, ports, speeds. How do you manage those devices? And then some things that we'll talk about in 150 is additional security, redundancy, quality of service. Do you need to do voice over IP, layer 3 switching, which we'll talk about, NAT, DHCP. There's just a lot of different things to think about. Okay. And again, this is just a quick little overview. You don't need to know this for the actual skills project. It's more just a conversation that you're thinking about when you're talking to customers. Okay. Let's see. So growing a network, you want to anticipate growth. That's why we're doing a loop back. Another thing that we're not doing in this skills project, but is very common, is to think about, well, are you going to expand your departments? Like maybe you have 100 employees now, but in 6 months, are you going to hire 20 more? In a year, are you going to hire another 100, right? Because the more you can plan out for your VLSM, the less disruptive it is in the future. Okay? So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about the needs of the network. Okay? So we'll use VLSM for the network addressing. We're going to do IPv4 and IPv6. Okay. We'll be figuring out what the network addresses are, as well as all of the interface addresses, right? Because your routers need to have IP addresses on them. We're going to set up an SVI for management. Okay. We'll start working on the addressing. Yep, we're going to do IPv4 and IPv6. The addressing format that we're going to do is we're just going to follow standard networking practices, where we're going to set the first usable address as the default gateway for our networks, and we'll set the first usable address on our loopback. Okay, so just following normal networking processes, rule of thumbs. You'll set the second usable address on the end devices. The second usable address on the end devices. And the last usable IPv4 address as the management address for the switches. Notice we are not going to set an IPv6 management address. Normally, if you're dual stacking a network where you're running IPv4 and IPv6, you only need one address to get into the device. You don't need to have two management addresses. There's not a real reason to do that. Are there any questions on this? Okay, so I'm going to hand out, this is two-sided. IPv4 is on one side and IPv6 is on the other side for the helper table. Okay? We're going to do IPv4 first. You've contacted the ISP, and they're giving you 192.168.0.0/22 to start with. That's your starting network. For sales, we need 20 hosts. Customer service, 100. And growth IT, 40. Now notice on your VLSM helper table, you can fill out whatever part you need, right? But make sure you at least have your first, your last, and your broadcast on your table, okay? So go ahead and work on your VLSM. Put your name in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, put your name in the upper right-hand corner. And let's take about 5 minutes. And work on the VLSM. No calculators for this. Okay, no calculators for the VLSM. What?
We were just about to compare,
Yeah.
but I noticed you got to start with the largest one first, so I told you we should probably.
Yeah. Good thinking. Good
Mine
thinking.
right though? Or
I don't know.
Oh, you're not checking?
I don't know. Okay, so when you are done, get back together with your partner. Okay, so when you're done, get back together with your partner. Again, make sure your name is in the right-hand corner, and then your partner's is in the bottom right. And if your partner has a mistake, just help them correct it and make sure they understand why, and then I'll check everybody's.
This is right, then we should fill out this after that.
Yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Good thinking. Okay. Yeah, but make sure that's right before you add it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, yeah,
That only changes like every hank.
yes.
Thanks for that. I would have messed that up.
I'm just gonna do it that way. Just feel like there should be an easier way to do it.
Are you two done?
Okay, so me and Gabby don't remember how to do this. So, I mean, these are smaller networks, so these are kind of easy. But isn't there a trick outside of writing 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128? Like how many, what are prefixes supposed to be?
No,
Oh, there's not.
no,
So
I
that was
just,
something to do with bidding it out or something.
well, that's not the shortcut. 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and then just do the subnets next to it. That's the
Outside, there's
easiest.
no calculator, that's what you're doing.
No, yeah. And remember, you won't be able to use a calculator on any exams or anything. So you want to know that little trick because that makes it fast. Let's see. Yeah.
So you got easy fixes, just erase the 160s off of there, and then there and there. So just, yeah, start with the whole.
I think I'm in trouble for 56.
Okay. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add these addresses to your topology. Who's ready for me to look at?
Joey and I are finished.
Okay.
There you go, there you're getting it. And then the last one's like, the one last one.
Okay. So go ahead and start adding these to your topology. Okay. That one's
Thank
there
you.
you go. And you'll have a chance to redo your topology if you need to, because it starts to get crammed, right? Okay. Anybody ready over here?
I'm ready.
It's hard. It's hard.
Oh,
You'll be able to redo it. Yeah.
oh, that was from all the way at the beginning of the class, that'd be largest to smallest. Yeah. I just signed it off.
Not these ones, but yeah. See, I got like 5 there. I'm breaking all of them.
Okay. Anybody ready for me to look at it? You two are together? Okay.
Right. Think about all the money I spent on glasses.
Yeah, this is pretty good, I had it done last month.
I know
Yeah.
it's like a lifetime.
Yeah, that's considered lifetime.
I had that surgery too, but eventually I had to start wearing glasses again. Okay. And that's what happened to mine. Yeah. So you're going to add all that addressing to your topology.
All these IPs?
Well,
The IPs we're gonna use.
you're going to use the IPs that we talked about, okay? So you're going to add that to your topology, and then you're going to get back together with your partner.
So when I did it, they did flat.
I did it. And I didn't have to wear glasses for a long time. I think I did it in like 95. And I had to start wearing glasses in 2008, 2009. And that's because of this. Yeah, and I didn't know how to take good care of my eyes. If you take good care of your eyes after the surgery, meaning like I would work for 12 hours and never like look away and stuff like that. So you really have to. That helps, but you gotta look away, and I have a video about it. I have a video about it, yeah. But it is one of the best things I've ever done in my whole life. I mean, it was the best thing, even though I didn't get like a whole lifetime out of it. It's like, man, because I used to go camping all the time and then wear contacts camping, and oh my God, when I didn't have to do that, it was just like my life was so much better.
Broadcast and then the next
They're like,
time.
your
Mine
picture's
was,
about to go blurry and you see a blink like across and you're like, oh my God, I can't
I
see
think
anything.
mine
They're
was,
like, don't move your eye. I'm like, I'm freaking out.
mine was laser, so I don't know.
Yeah, they open the flap and then they
Yeah.
like the red dot and towards
I mean, think about it, it was a long time ago. You probably weren't even born in '94. You know?
still, okay, done.
Yeah,
And they like use a little, like they're painting a nail, they're like,
yeah.
I live back close to get it and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I already did the first step of, I call it, check if you're eligible.
Okay, so make sure that your coworker signs it.
Well, when I did it, it was like $5,000
$5,000 an eye, that's what I paid.
Now they say, oh, do one, get one free.
Yeah, I think
It's like-
closest part to it, I think, is a small little hair bun. Outside that door,
Yeah, it's not covered by insurance, so it is more reasonable than it is.
When I had it done, the insurance I had was covering it. They covered it, but it was the last year they were gonna cover it, so I rushed to go get it done.
I was working at UPS and we always had good insurance at UPS, but they didn't cover that.
Yeah, I did it because it was the last time it would be covered. Okay, so again, make sure that you sign each other's. Now you gotta add that addressing to your topology. So you're using your addressing to add to your topology based on the directions that we gave earlier, okay? Got it? Hi there, Orr.
I had to rewrite it because I messed up the first one.
I can give you another one.
That's okay. Like, I just wrote it out to the side. You said these are the addresses that we're using.
Well,
We're
this
gonna put
is,
it into the topology, right?
yeah, so you're gonna follow the directions of what it said to assign, but now you have your address ranges. Okay, is this one yours, Ozzy? Okay, so put your name on it, and then get your slash notation in there. You're missing, yeah, you're everywhere. You have to have slash notation everywhere.
I gotta fix it too.
Okay, yeah, get your slash notation. So once your addressing is correct and signed off, you're gonna add that to your topology.
Yeah, that's all.
If you need to take a break, and then come back so we can keep working, because we're doing
but I'm thinking VLAN. I'm like, well, that's not really correct, so I want to make sure I'm arrowing correctly,
Yeah,
where I don't get confused.
that's
'cause
good. That's exactly what I want
showed
you.
her that, and I arrowed to the interface, and I'm like, well.
Yeah, see, there
the
you go.
interface is VLAN, so it's not really, I mean, it is, but it's not. I don't want to.
Yeah, but a lot of people, like, they're thinking, oh, I'm trying to put an IP address on G01 or an F010, but they don't have them. So, yeah, that's the right way to do it. And there's that VLAN. Yeah, that's okay too. And you'll be able to redo it because you'll want to have a nice one for your report. One. So I don't think I see a loopback address on here, do I? Oh, right under there. But that's the network address.
Did I not do that right?
So everything.
Have 0.128.
Well, but that's the
That's gonna be
network.
first-
yeah.
First usable.
So, like, here you've got your network, here you've got your network, there you've got your network, but you,
0.129.
yeah, you got to get that on there. So get that. Gabby, you got yours? Oh yeah, it's clean.
So should I be labeling the network too then?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you had all your networks labeled right there. Yeah. Everything has to be labeled. Okay, that looks good.
Just changed for the actual first usable
And then,
and
yeah.
then the network.
There you go. Add your slash notation.
Oh,
Okay, that looks good. Okay. You'll have a chance to redo your topologies. Okay, so I'm going to just have you stop working on your topologies for a minute so that I can give you the IPv6 information. Okay, so before you leave today, you want to have the IPv4 addressing done and labeled on your topology, the IPv6 addressing done and ideally labeled on the topology. Okay, and then I'll send you home with something. So let's get through the IPv6. Okay. Okay. So here's our IPv6 information. Okay. So the ISP is giving us 2001 DB8 CAD : 48. And then we're going to subnet using the 4th hextet and the 4th nibble, okay? And what we want is, we want you to start your subnetting with the number 1. Okay, you're gonna start your subnetting with the number 1. Okay. Now, does it matter for IPv6 which network you start with? It doesn't because of size, right? We have 1 million. But what I like to do just for consistency is I still go in the same order that I did for IPv4 just so it's consistent. So I would figure out customer service first, my growth IT second, and then the sales last. Okay? All right. done? Have you added everything to your
I want
topology?
you to check it first.
Oh,
so I don't
good.
have to sit there and erase it on my already small topology. Like I made at least one mistake somewhere or something. A lot of F's. I probably accidentally missed a hex head.
Well, for starters, make sure you include your slash notation.
Right. I'm pretty good with IPv4 with that, just not 6 apparently.
Okay. That looks good. Get together with your partner. Okay. Yes.
So you can write that all down like he did. When you write all this,
Yeah. Yeah, slash 64. Yeah, because that, I mean, this is fine to do that, but let's just remember to also enter there. Uh-huh. All Fs. The last four hextets, right? Because you have to end up with 8 hextets. So the first 4 hextets are these, and then you've got F, 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 F. Okay? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, get together with your partner. And when you've got them correct, you're going to add these into Canvas. Okay, you're going to add this into Canvas. Did you get it checked? Oh, okay. Right, the enter. Okay, so you know that this, okay. Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure you know. Okay, so these go in your topology, and there's 2 quizzes in Canvas where you're entering this information, both IPv4 and IPv6. Read it really carefully so you don't miss anything, because you have to take it until you get them right. Okay, good. Okay, so make sure that your partner signs the bottom right-hand corner. Okay? Okay, so I just want to make sure that you know, right? Okay, perfect. And so like the whole address is 2001 DB8 CAD 00. Okay, just as long, because it said write the entire address, but as long as it's, no, it's fine. As long as you know, then I'm okay with it. Last usual, same thing, right? It's all this. Yeah, that's perfect. That looks good. 2, 3, yeah. Okay, so again, just run that through your partner too, okay? And then let me put a check mark on it. When you both are ready, enter it into Canvas, okay? Got it, Caesar? Mostly. Yep, it looks like it. You're on the right path. Mm-hmm.
Are we still using the same rules for the topology as the first principle goes?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so Gabby had a really good question, and that is the addressing the same? So the answer is yes. So like the first address for IPv6 is your default gateways. The second address for IPv6 is your end devices. So yeah, it's going to be the same. And remember, no management address for IPv6. So you're using the same addressing directions. Okay. Once you've gotten together and verified everything, you're entering the information in Canvas. Now read it really carefully so you don't make any mistakes. For example, IPv6 says full compression. Full compression. So if you don't compress everything, you'll get marked wrong. That looks good. 2, that looks great. Yeah, those look good. Yeah, so one's for IPv4, one's for IPv6. Yeah, make sure you notice the order. Yep. So when you're doing the filling in, pay really close attention so you don't mess up the order of things. You got to pay close attention. Yeah. Yeah, you have to take it till you get them all correct. should be a quiz too. There'll be 2 quizzes in there where you enter your IPv4 information and your IPv6 information. Read the directions really carefully so you don't enter the information incorrectly, okay? So actually, it's towards the bottom. There's a module for the skills exam, the skills
Oh,
project. There it
makes
is, yeah.
Okay.
So there's this, you can find it in the calendar, or there's a separate module towards the bottom that'll have all the skills projects, all the skills project assignments in there. Pay close attention. I will check it. Did Gabby check it? Did you get them all right?
Yes.
Oh, good. So that's not actually right.
Oh, dot, okay, no, I get what you're saying, dot one, dot,
Yeah.
dot, dot. Or
Well,
no, just a semicolon and then the rest of it.
right, and then this one would be what?
So that one, okay, I'll write that, it'd be dot, dot two.
Yeah, colon 2, right. Done? 'Cause I already looked at yours, right? Okay, did you get them in Canvas? Perfect. And you got them all right. Nicely done. Did you add your IPv6 addressing to this? Okay, let me see. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Okay. Yes. Yeah, we're not done. Well, that was, I don't know why. I don't know why.
So I have a question, because I wasn't here for when you guys went over this, but my understanding was, like for the last one, I had it set to just ::1,
Yep.
but Oswaldo had it ::001. Is either correct, or is there a factually correct one?
Well, do you have a colon
Yeah,
right there?
that's a.
So ::1 is correct because the colons represent the zeros. So in the end, you need to have 8 total hextets. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you have colon, colon, that means you have 3 sets of zeros and then 0, 0, 0, 1. So what do you have
I had
right there?
I had put colon colon 1.
That's correct.
Initially.
Okay.
But I had changed it to colon colon 0, 0, 0, 1.
Oh,
That's what I was
that's the
looking
same
for.
thing.
It's literally the same thing.
It's the same thing. So make sure you go watch those videos because you can suppress or remove the leading zeros.
Yeah.
So if you have colon 1, what that tells me is it's really 0, 0, 0, 1. But you can suppress them. You can remove the leading zeros.
If I did the IPv4 of this one, and I did fine.
Okay.
On this one, if I type colon colon 1, is that gonna be, or is it just gonna be a thing of give it a shot until you?
That's how you have to do it because the directions for IPv6, do you see how it
It's the
says full compression?
Yeah, that's what I
So if you
wanted
don't
to-
use full compression, it will be marked wrong. Yeah. So wherever there's zeros, leading zeros, you would suppress them or compress them.
Okay.
And wherever there's groups of zeros, you're going to use the double colon.
Okay. Other than that, though.
Yeah. Yep, you got it right. 2, 3, yeah. Okay.
So tired.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, 3, 2, there we go. Thank you. B. 1, that looks good. 2, that looks good. Okay, so you actually did the same thing that Matt did. So 2001, DB8 CAD, and then why did you leave the 1 out? So you need to make sure that that 1 is in here, right? So the address is 2001 DB8 CAD colon 1 FFFF colon FFFF colon FFF colon, right? Okay, and no, there's 4. And then so same, because look, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you only have 7 hextets and you need to have 8. Okay. Okay.
So we need to label,
Yeah. Nope, caps should not matter. Caps should not matter.
Man, that was a big, grade boost.
Final skills project is worth a lot of points. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to go over the next part. Okay, again, this will stay open so you can still enter these things. So I'm going to just give it a couple more minutes, and then I want to go over the next part for you to take what you can take home, okay? So remember, you're going to need to put all this in a notebook. I have some notebooks if you want one, or you can get your own. Yeah. Okay, so let me just talk about this next piece, okay, so that you can see what this looks like and you can ask any questions. Okay. So the next thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to be assigning the addresses on the table. Okay, so I'm going to be handing this out. There's an IPv4 side and an IPv6 side. Now for the most part, you've gathered this information already. You've added it to your topology. Okay, so on here, it's what is the router? So what would you put right here for the name? Branch. Okay, and now on this one, it's got one extra column, and that is the LAN name. So how many LANs and or loopbacks do we have? 3. Okay, so you should have a LAN for customer service, a LAN for sales and the loopback. And then you're going to fill in the interface, what IP address goes on it, and it's telling you it's the first usable. That was what the directions gave you. The subnet mask and the default gateway. Now, does a router have a default gateway? Because why? It is the default gateway. Okay, so what could you put there? Because you don't want to have any blanks. So what would you put there? N/A, just like the labs, exactly like the labs, okay? There's a few little differences on here relative to the labs, and that is that you include the LAN name. But other than that, everything is the same. So if you're not sure what the interface is, go look at the lab, okay? So bring this back completed on Thursday, okay? Completed on Thursday. So if you have not already done 16.5.5, you might want to get that handled, okay? Because you want to have that on Thursday and this on Thursday, okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So far you should have your topology drawn, your network addressing done, and the ranges for IPv4 and IPv6. the network and interface addressing added to the topology. Everyone should be this far along, okay? Next, you're going to fill out the interfaces, the interface addressing. Use the labs if you need help, and put everything in a folder and bring that back. Okay, you can work on it still tonight because there's 9 minutes of class left. You can take it home and do homework too. That's fine with me. I just like you to use class time.
The network address, if I'm condensing this down into colon, colon, 1, would it be colon, colon, 1, colon, colon, 1 for the
No,
network address? Or
colon, colons only represent zeros. Groups of zeros.
Colons only represent the
Groups of zeros. Okay, so write this address all the way out. Write the whole thing, 2001 DB8 CAD 001, and add all the zeros that are supposed to go in there, and then let's talk about it. Pass that down. So write all 8 hextets out, Caesar, and then we'll look at it. Does anybody need another topology? Is that an extra? If you get stuck, look at a lab. Yeah. There's an IPv4 and an IPv6 side. Yeah, I did check it. So the 13.3.1, I'm glad you brought that up because we actually graded that and there's nothing came through on anybody's, on nobody's. So will you check that before you leave? Because I played with it a little bit to see if it would give a grade. Yeah, see if it, at least, because it was, yeah, just check that. And then,
They were both extra credits.
and then I did the other one.
And
I
the
graded.
last thing I asked was if you did-
I'll look at that one. Yeah.
That's the worst score he's ever given. And I
I'll
didn't
go
use
look at
any of
it.
your questions. I did the little thing like I did before. where
Yeah.
I used the different sections from, these are the.
From the
important
book?
objectives. Yeah, from the book. So
I'll
I'm
go
getting
look.
all sections, now I'm gonna do the questions, because I got a better grade when I did this. So this one, he gave me even worse grade. I'm like, so he wants me to go back to questions?
No.
So I'm just like, I'm done with the dude. I'm like, what is your problem? Do you have a bad day?
I'll look at it. It's 8:56. You can leave in 4 minutes. All right, I'll see everyone on Thursday. Remember, we're gonna come in, you'll just pretty much, once everyone's here, we'll start on 1655, okay? If you don't have your commands, you'll have to do the commands and you won't be able to do the lab, okay? Does anybody need a notebook? All right.
That, the first one got scored, but I don't see, I still see.
1331. Okay, okay. So did you write them all out?
No,
Oh,
I was writing it down here.
oh, okay. So go ahead, finish writing it out and I'll help you.
So I downloaded the lab, the commands one, and I moved it over to my docs. Does anything change? As for you saying stuff?
No.
No, okay. Because it keeps saying, some things are not going to do the same.
Oh. Did you already submit it? I can go look at it.
No, I haven't submitted. I just moved it over because I can get onto it anyway.
Oh, right. It shouldn't. Is it because you're using Word,
Yeah,
not
goes to-
WordPress or WordPad?
Yeah, it goes first. You download it from Word, and then over to docs.
It should be fine. It should be fine. Okay, got it? Okay.
What is B zeros after it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways. So you can compress the leading zeros. So with this one, you can get rid of these, right?
Yeah.
And just write it as :1, right? And so then there's a couple of different ways to handle these. And let's say this is the first usable, so let's make that a 1, like the first, like what you would do up here, the first usable.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a whole group of zeros, a whole group of zeros, a whole group of zeros all together. So you can replace those with ::. Okay, and then right here, you can suppress these, right? You can get rid of them and make that a 1/64. So now, if you write this out, it would be 2001 DB8 CAD. How many hextets do you have represented right here?
How many hextets do I have represented?
So if I'm looking at this right here, once I've done full compression, how many hextets is represented?
4 are being represented.
Check again.
These count as individual at the end?
Nope. They will, but how many hextets do you see?
Like I've been
5.
writing those.
5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many are there supposed to be?
There's supposed to be 8.
Right, so since we see 5, and we know there's supposed to be 8, this tells us that these colons are representing 3 sets of zeros. Okay, and because there's just a 1 right here, then we know that there's 3 zeros in front of these because the way that we compressed them.